My life was a carefully constructed house on Iowa soil, solid, predictable. Each day a brick laid just like the one before. Richard was a good man, the children my shelter, but inside, dust settled on everything. The dust of unspoken words, of dreams packed away in the attic. I swept, I washed, but I could never clean the silence. It was a silence so deep it hummed with what could have been. This isn't a story about a simple affair. It's about the moment the foundation cracked. Before him, my secrets were small, a hidden book, a longing for the sea. He brought a different kind of secret, the kind that could bring the whole house down. This is not a confession. It's evidence of a crime of the heart. Madison County, a postcard of rural America, rolling hills, covered bridges, unlocked doors. But every unlocked door is an invitation for change. Our peace was a fragile illusion, a veil over quiet desperation. People smiled, talked about the weather, but carried their own secrets. I thought I was better at hiding mine, until a cloud of dust signaled his arrival. That summer the air was thick with heat and tension. Cicadas buzzed a warning. I was alone, Richard and the children at the fair. 4 days of silence, 4 days of staring at the same walls. I didn't know it then, but those 4 days were a countdown. A clock was ticking, leading to a moment that would redefine everything. The calm before the storm is the most terrifying part. You can feel it coming, but you can do nothing to stop it. I was just better at hiding my secrets. Or so I thought. Until the day he arrived. The dust of unspoken things was about to be stirred. My house, my life, would never be the same, and neither would I. His old green pickup kicked up gravel as it rolled down my driveway. It felt like an invasion, a disruption of the natural order. Strangers didn't just appear here. He stepped out, tall, lean, a camera slung over his shoulder. He was not from here. That much was obvious. He called himself Robert Kincaid, a photographer for National Geographic. He was looking for the Roseman Bridge. He was lost. His eyes saw through the facade of the farmer's wife, saw the woman hiding underneath. In that moment, a silent negotiation began. I should have given him directions, sent him on his way, but I didn't. I offered to show him. Was it kindness or a reckless impulse? I got into his truck. The air inside smelled of tobacco and something wild. As we drove, the world outside looked different, like a cage I was escaping. He asked about my dreams. No one had in years. Each question unlocked a door inside me. I was playing with fire, and the warmth felt too good to pull away. The risk was a thrill, a jolt of life in a world that had felt dead for so long. I was no longer invisible. I was seen, and I didn't want to look away. The drive to the bridge was the first step out of my old life. I didn't know where it would lead, but I knew I wanted to follow. He set up his camera by the bridge, moving with quiet grace. He wasn't just taking pictures, he was capturing its soul. Then, he turned the lens on me. It felt like a truth serum. I was exposed. He asked me to stand in the light. Stepping out of the shadows was a choice. The shutter clicked, a pact sealed, a secret born. That evening, he came for dinner. Every gesture was charged, the brush of hands, the way his eyes followed me. The room felt smaller, hotter, thick with things unsaid. We talked for hours, about his travels, my life in Italy. We peeled back layers, digging up buried truths. The lie wasn't just in the dinner, it was in pretending this was innocent. We were building a world in my kitchen, a world with only 2 inhabitants. But the real world was just outside the screen door, waiting. My family, my life, they would be back. The clock was ticking. I was no longer just Francesca Johnson, the farmer's wife. I was the subject of his art, his focus, and I was losing myself in the process. The stakes were impossibly high, my entire life balanced on the edge of a knife. We were 2 actors in a play, and the script was writing itself. The lie was in pretending this was temporary, but nothing about it felt temporary. The evidence was being created, 1 photograph at a time, and I let it happen. I wanted proof that this was real, that I was real, even if it meant risking everything. Those 4 days were a lifetime. Each morning I woke with dread and exhilaration. We lived in our own universe, but the borders were fragile. Every car that passed was a potential threat. The danger made everything more intense, colors brighter, food richer, my skin more alive. We danced in my kitchen, a slow, swaying dance that was both an embrace and a farewell. He photographed me again, in my home, my garden. Each photograph was a piece of evidence, a testament to my betrayal. I let him. I wanted proof that this was real. The final day loomed like a guillotine. We spoke less, our silence heavy with the weight of impending separation. The house felt like a crime scene. I had to erase him before my family returned. Cleaning felt like a betrayal in itself. I was washing away the only thing that had ever felt truly mine. The end was coming, swift and certain. I was betting everything on a man I barely knew. The risk was intoxicating, but the consequences were closing in. I had to choose erase him or let the evidence remain. I chose to hide the truth. My kitchen, once the heart of my home, became haunted after he left. Every object held a memory, a glass, a tablecloth, a doorknob. I moved through my days like a phantom, performing duties with mechanical precision. My family returned, filling the house with noise. They noticed nothing. I had perfected invisibility, but now invisibility felt like a prison. At night, the space between Richard and me was a chasm. I replayed every moment with Robert, every word, every touch. Was it a mistake, or the only real thing that had ever happened to me? The guilt was a weight, breaking me from the inside out. I started to see him everywhere. A green truck, a man with a camera. I was paranoid, terrified my secret would be exposed. Madison County was no longer my home. It was the scene of the crime. I was sentenced to live there forever, haunted by the ghost of what might have been. Love is supposed to be salvation, but what we had felt like a devil's bargain. I traded peace of mind for 4 days of passion. Was it worth it? The answer changed with the sun. He offered me a way out, a life on the road, the life I dreamed of. But to take it, I'd have to destroy the lives of those I loved. The price was too high. Or was it? I imagined leaving, but the horror matched the thrill. What kind of mother abandons her children? The alternative? Stay and live with the ghost of him. I chose the familiar pain over the unknown, duty over desire, the life I had, not the life I wanted. It was a sacrifice, but it felt like surrender. I stood at a crossroads and chose the path of righteousness. But I knew I'd spend the rest of my life looking back, wondering what lay down the other road. Days turned into weeks, then months. The memory of him stayed sharp, a shard of glass in my heart. I waited for a sign, a letter, a call, but there was only silence. Then, one rainy day in town, I heard his truck's engine. My blood ran cold. There he was, stopped at the light. My heart hammered. This was it, a second chance. All I had to do was get out of my car, walk to his truck, open the door. The world slowed. Raindrops hung in the air. Richard sat beside me, humming to the radio, oblivious. He was the anchor holding me to this life. I saw Robert's eyes in the rearview mirror, asking me to choose. My hand was on the door handle, white from the pressure. It would only take a second to open the door and run. The choice was mine, and mine alone. The universe was giving me a second chance. I could leave everything behind and never look back. But the weight of my family held me in place. The moment stretched, suspended in time. I was paralyzed by love and duty. The world outside waited for my decision. I could almost feel the freedom, but I was rooted in place. The rain fell, the engine idled. The choice was there, just beyond my reach. I was trapped between two lives, and the light was about to change. My heart broke in the silence. The red light lasted an eternity. My hand was frozen on the door handle, the lever that could switch the tracks of my life. To pull it meant chaos and freedom. To leave it meant safety and regret. Richard sat beside me, representing everything I'd be destroying. Robert's truck idled ahead, a promise of another existence. In my mind, I was already running through the rain, opening his door, driving away. But my body would not obey. The love for my family was a chain, holding me in my seat. It was a different kind of love, deep, rooted, unbreakable. The light turned green. The moment was over. Robert's truck hesitated, then pulled away. I watched my other life disappear into the rain. I did not open the door. I did not run. I sat in the car and let a part of me die. Richard reached over and patted my knee. "You okay, Fran? You look 1,000,000 miles away." I turned to him and smiled, a perfect hollow smile. "I'm fine," I said. The biggest lie I'd ever told. Years later, after Richard had passed, a package arrived for me. It was from Robert. A box, his cameras, his journal, and a letter. He was gone, his ashes scattered. The letter was not a love letter. It was a map of his life after me. He had never married, never stopped traveling, but his compass always pointed back to Madison County, to me. Our 4 days were the center of his life. He lived the life of freedom I chose for him, but he was just as trapped as I was. We both served a life sentence in different prisons. I never told my children. The secret is mine to keep. It is the final piece of evidence, a crime with no witnesses, only 2 accomplices. Was it a love story or a tragedy? I still don't know. The question is not what happened, but about the choices we make and the ghosts they leave behind. Is it better to live in quiet desperation or seize a moment of happiness, no matter the cost? I made my choice in the rain that day. I chose my family. But as I write this, I am left with one last, lingering question, and the silence that answers is the most terrifying sound of all.